Hey, Coach, go ahead when you're ready.
All right, Eric, go ahead.
First up, Pat Finley.
Matt, can you tell us what you saw on the Wims fight and what was explained to you and what you just think about that behavior in general?
Yeah, I did not see it. I totally missed it. I was looking down when I heard about it. But what I did hear is what it looked like, which is completely unacceptable. We've talked to him and told him that that's not how things go here. Um, One of Javon's strengths is his character and who he is as a person, and he's since apologized, but that's not that's you don't have that. There's no part of that in this game. Again, I still haven't seen it, but from what I heard, it's not good. So um, that's not how we roll here, and that's there. We'll be talking to him.
JJ.
Matt, on that play, it took you from a second and sorry about that. On that play where Wims of the fight, it took you from a 2nd and 5 to a 2nd and 20. Nick got intercepted on that pass. How did that change your play call that you thought you were going to get when you're looking down at your sheet, thinking it was 2nd and 5, then all of a sudden you got to go to 2nd and 20?
Yeah, it's brutal. You come out in the third quarter, and we've struggled all year long in the third quarter, and I mean, JJ. I mean, you can totally understand the question you just asked. You go from 2nd and 5 to 2nd and 20. That's hard. That's hard. So what I don't like is you come out, it's a tie game, and you have an opportunity to do some things, and we go the other way, and then on top of that, we have that stuff that goes on. So I felt like it kind of took the sting out. The fire for a little bit. We had to regroup. The defense, at least in that situation with the field position, was able to hold them and not let them score touchdowns. But we had to regroup offensively on the sideline and just let these guys know, like we're, let's go, get on track and get out of that. And that's kind of why we were with that.
Jason.
Matt, how long have you been thinking about or working on that kind of role for Mitch? And is that something you could expand in your offense going forward?
Yeah, we could. Mitch. A lot of credit to Mitch. He's done a really good job at in his role that he's in right now, and it's a weapon for us to be able to use his legs and then obviously be able to throw the ball as well. So that's something that we're looking at, and every game could be a little bit different, but it's something that teams have to prepare for.
Adam Hogue.
Hey, Matt, whether it was the Wims fight or some drops or penalties, some more confusion, it looked like pre-snap sometimes getting plays. And I think at one point the helmet went out. But just in general, it seemed like discipline was maybe an issue throughout this game and some unforced errors. Do you agree with that? And can you pinpoint why that continues to be an issue?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You're right. There is issues there. That's what bothers me, and that's what pisses me off is that there is that issue still going on. Excuse my French, but we're reading it from a wristband. So I'm struggling with that right now, and it's getting you into a hole. It's called and so that has to change. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I can't sit here and say anything other than what you just said. When you have somebody throwing punches, when you have the things that are going on right now with us in the offense and just trying to get things going, guys are fighting, they're sticking together, but then you have that happen. It takes away everything that you work hard to get to and fight for. And what bothers me is we got a lot of good guys that are doing things the right way, and then it takes it away.
Jeff Dickerson.
Yeah, Matt, to kind of follow up on that, how do you feel about the offense in general today? I mean, there were some really good moments. You had that 4-play, 80-yard drive, and you aired out to Mooney, and great catch by A-Rob there for the touchdown at the end. Nick leads you guys back to force overtime. But how do you couple that with all the other issues you kind of just discussed? That stuff that seems like is kind of maybe holding you back sometimes offensively.
Sure. Yeah, I think when you look at the run game, and I thought it felt better today. It did feel better, and that team's pretty good against the run. It did feel better in the run game, so I was happy in that aspect. And we were able to have, I think we had a couple double-digit drives with plays, 13-play drive, a couple other ones, and so the rhythm of being able to get into rhythm was good. We did have a couple of those 3 and outs where that's hard, and then again, the start of that third quarter, I don't like, and it's been a theme. So trust me, we're looking at it. We've we've done different things in how to adjust that, and it's weird that it just keeps happening. So, but yeah, you're right. It's I did feel better about a lot of stuff, but none of that matters because you want to win.
Kevin Fishbane.
Matt, when you guys got the ball back in the third quarter, I think it was your third drive. You had the 3rd and 3. David came out short, and then Nick tried to draw him off sides. For you as a head coach, what's going through your mind at that point? Your third possession, you talked about the struggles. I mean, how kind of much did you just want to stay out there, just try to sustain a drive at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I knew we weren't going to go for it there on 4th down. We're just like Sean did to us at the end, trying to get us to jump off sides and try to steal a free first down, and that's what we were doing. We tried to pop a run on that 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, just to steal a first down, which we've done. We did a couple times today on 3rd down, and that can keep a defense honest with some of the things they do, and you can hit some. We didn't hit that one, and so unfortunately it made it into that 4th and 1, 4th and 2. And your field position wasn't real good. And then also that wind at that point in time was kind of kicking in our face. So it just, that one hurt a little bit.
Stacey Dales.
Coach, you appear to be very emotional. None of us can understand what it's like to be in your position. What kind of emotions are you feeling right now going through this process? To give us a perspective of how difficult this is in a pandemic against a really good team, and you're, fighting for your life, so to speak.
Yeah, I would say the frustration comes just because I want it so bad for these guys. I want it for the city. I want it for our organization, and I care a lot about all of that I just said. And so it's emotional at the end of a game when you fight like this and you're playing against a good football team and a Hall of Fame quarterback and they're a good football team. So to lose like that on a last second field goal in overtime, there's positives that you take out of it. But again, it's always better to coach off the wins than it is the losses. When we reflect at where we're at right now, I know no one's happy and we're not happy. But what we got to do is, fortunately for us, any way you look at it, we ended up winning these 5 games early on. And so now we got to figure out, okay, are we going to start going against each other, or are we going to stick together and fight through this thing? And I know what we'll do. It's just, it takes time. And then anytime you lose 2 games in a row, that part hurts too. We don't want that. We don't like that, but we got to rely on the leaders right now. In times like this, this is times, in my opinion, when the leaders of your team, they step up and they say, all right, enough's enough. It's go time. And that's where we're at right now.
Thank you.
Yep.
Pat Finley.
Matt, you guys have leaned on your defense all year. When it gets to overtime and they allow 2 fairly substantial drives, what did you make of their performance and the ability to get home, or the inability to get home to Breeze when rushing the passer?
Yeah, there's a few plays here or there that I know that they'll want back, but we feed off of our defense. That's just, let's face the facts. That's who we are. That's who this team is. We feed off of how our defense does, and I'll never question or get on those guys in regards to what I think they're doing or not doing. I'm proud of them. I think they play hard, and again, they're going against a really good offense today and a great quarterback. So. I'm going to rely on them, continue to keep listening to what their suggestions are and where they're at. They're going to keep fighting. Chuck and the coaches are going to do the same thing. And then we as a unit collectively, all 3 phases can only follow, and just keep, but I'm proud of them. And I know they're going to want to always play better, but we got to just keep plugging along.
Couple more for Coach. Jason Leisure.
Matt, offensively, I look at this and it seems like one of your better games. It seems like progress possibly. Is your frustration the fact that you see those flashes and there's a disparity between what the offense could be and what it consistently is?
Yeah, I think you're right. That's what it is. And it's hard. It's hard for me to try to figure that thing out. It's hard because we're all trying. And, you know, we talked about just cutting it loose and just having fun and not playing tight and doing that. And there was a lot of times in that game I felt where we were doing that. And again, I'm just going to continue to go back. I am really, really bothered by that third quarter incident. That bothers me. I'm being completely honest with you guys. It bothers me. And so, but I am proud of the guys that played hard. I'm proud of the guys that were selfless and tried to do everything they could to help us win.
Adam Hogue.
And Matt, understanding that you had a few guys out on the offensive line, how do you, I guess, judge what Nick is doing? Sometimes it just seemed like he was retreating a lot, moving backwards a lot, sometimes throwing as he's moving backwards. How do you judge how much the offensive line is causing that versus situations where maybe he can step up and handle it better? And in general, how did you feel like Nick Foles played today?
Sure. Yeah, it's hard for those tackles if you do keep back on. And I'm not saying, because it's, again, like in my shoes when I'm out there calling plays and doing different things, I can't see all the exact details of that until I watch the tape. And I know Nick is trying his damnedest to be able to push up in the pocket and do different things. But that is a big part of this, and he'll be hard on himself on when he's doing it and not doing it, and where his eyes are at when the ball's coming out, what the accuracy is of the throws, his decision making, etc. And then when the throws are being made, are we making catches? Are we protecting? It all needs to be in unity. And right now, there's just a little bit of that off, which is a reflection of how we're going right now on offense. There was a couple drives in there, and that one where, let's face it, he made an unbelievable throw on that deep post to Mooney and followed it right back up with a great throw and a trust to A-Rob, and A-Rob made a spectacular catch. That felt good for us. We needed that. And that's what you want to kind of feed off of and like, okay, now we can get going. Now we can play ball. That's us. That's who we know we can be, all of us together. And so is it going to be perfect? No, guys. Look at the Saints. You look at what they did offensively, and there's times where they weren't perfect and things weren't great, but they won the game and they did enough when they had to. So we got guys that, they want it. And when you want it, you just keep plugging away. And I know it's hard, but trust me, we want it for everybody. We want it for you guys. We want it for us. We want to win. We want to win. We want to win. And we're not going to stop until we do, getting better at fixing everything.
Last one for Coach Dan Wiederer.
Matt, how significant was the wind on the field today? And then late in the first half, you guys had a chance to go up 17-3 and stalled out inside the red zone. Anything about the end of that series that sticks out to you when you think about it now?
The wind, number one, was at times it was kind of swirling. At one point in time, I thought it was going left to right. And then literally 30 seconds later, I said to the coaches, I think it's now going right to left. So it was kind of back and forth. But I didn't think it affected the throws as much as I thought maybe going into today that it would. And then that series there, like you said, to be able to go up 17-3 instead 13-3. Again, we feel like, in the red zone, that's where we have players that can be, good threats and put it together. And so, yeah, that one there. And then again, at the end of the half, knowing that we're getting the ball to start the third, and we gave up that touchdown there to make it, we were doing a great job on D the whole time, and then they just kind of chunked away and got that touchdown at the end. I thought that was kind of big too.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Nick Foles will be joining the Zoom here in just a couple minutes. Hey, Nick. Mark Potash, first up.
Hey, Nick, the drives at the end of regulation and in overtime, they were both kind of laborious, but in regulation, you got the job done. In overtime, you did not. What was the difference? Was there anything defensively they did? And also on that third down play in overtime on the sack before the punt, was there anything you could have done, in maneuvering the pocket that turns that into a big play, or was that just going to be a sack?
I think the big thing is just we were able to execute at the end of regulation and give ourselves an opportunity to push the game into overtime. Our special teams did a great job. Coward did a great job. And then the third down you're specifically talking about, I was moving around, moving in the pocket, looking downfield because it was, I don't know the exact distance off the top of my head, but it was a little longer. So you're trying to look for a big play right then and there. Nothing there. So just try to be smart at that point. And not throw the ball in harm's way for field position purpose and, just get down. But my eyes were looking, trying to find someone open downfield. They did a nice job covering up.
Thank you.
Adam Hogue.
Hey, Nick, in talking to Matt, he seemed understandably bothered by some of the pre-snap confusion and some of those issues. It looked like your helmet went out at some point. But he also mentioned how you're looking at the wristband. I don't know if he meant that as like maybe the issue shouldn't be happening, but I guess why do you feel like those issues are still popping up and what can be done to fix them?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we just have to communicate better, and that's something that we'll have to talk about as we go forward. That's something that we as players and coaches will get together and figure out where the issues are lying, because I don't have an answer for you. I know that each game we've had a couple instances that haven't, the communication hasn't been well, so we have to figure out what's going on.
JJ.
Nick, I'm just curious, where do you feel like your grasp of this offense is right now? Just now 5 starts in, and your handle on just the responsibilities that you have inside it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a good grasp on what we're doing right now. The big thing is we just have to continue to work and build on the positives for tonight. And then where we maybe have mistakes as an offense, just working on cleaning those things up. And that's the process we talk about, because there were good things out there. We were able to improve in different areas, get some explosive plays and whatnot. So those are the things we have to focus on as an offense and continue to move forward.
Jason?
Nick, with explosive plays, the 80-yard drive you guys had was probably the best you guys have looked. Why hasn't that kind of stuff happened more in the offense?
That, you know what, that's something that we're working towards. If I had that answer, it probably wouldn't be happening, right? So I think it's just, you know, rhythm, tempo, all the little things in football that we're figuring out. There's a lot of new moving pieces here, whether it be coaches and players, that we're working to bond together and figure out this as a unit. And, you know, the thing on the sideline was there was never a lack of belief in the game. The sidelines were positive. There was always belief. We were always in it. And we were continuing to play, and we just played until that clock hit 0. And unfortunately, it didn't turn out, you know, with a victory for us. But there were positives out there from a growth standpoint from this offense, and that's really what we got to focus on.
Dan Wiederer?
Nick, you had those back-to-back deep shots. What did you see on the long ball to Mooney down the middle, and then also on the touchdown ball to A-Rob?
Yeah, I mean, they had a safety cut, a deep cross, and I was able to get a ball down the middle to Mooney, and then they went man coverage, and A-Rob, we were able to connect on a great route and just try to put the ball back there and let him make a play. So that was nice getting going right there.
Kevin Fishbane?
Hey, Nick, the interception in the third quarter, I imagine that was just kind of a flurry of events following Javon's ejection. What went wrong on the pick, and then how did you as a quarterback try to put into perspective just that sequence that went on for you guys?
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy that went on right there that I have no clue what happened, but specifically on the pick, I gotta get a better ball to Jimmy. I was trying to flick it out there, and that's on me. I got to get him a better ball so he can make a play.
Joe Lewis?
Yeah, hey, Nick, how would you rate the job Sam Mustipher did in replacing Cody Whitehair this week?
Yeah, obviously, Cody's working hard to get healthy, but, we're so excited to get him back. But, Sam really did a great job stepping up. He's a really great young player, really smart, great mentality. I thought he did a really nice job tonight.
Brad Biggs?
Hey, Nick, did Javon Wims address the team afterward? And if so, what did he say to you guys?
You know what? I don't have a comment on that question. Just being honest.
Couple more for Nick. Jason?
So, Nick, big picture here. Do you look at today as step forward, step backward for the offense? What was this?
You know what? It's a step along this journey. That's an NFL season. It's obviously you want to win, but we didn't win today. So I look at it as it's another step along this journey of building this team and building this culture of what we want to be, coaches and players. Sometimes it's tough, and this is a tough one to lose. But at the end of the day, I believe the people in this organization are going to approach this the right way, in a positive way, and move forward, because there were good things tonight, and we were very close. Yes, we lost, and that is unfortunate, but I think the only way to be in this situation is positive and learn and be there and believe, because when you do those things, amazing things happen. And you look back at moments like this where we lost some tough ones, and you say, you know what, in those moments, that's where we built this culture. So that's what I'm looking at. That's how I'm looking at it, is believing that we're building something. We've done some good things this year. We haven't made it easy for ourselves, but I do believe this is a really great locker room and a special locker room. And, we're bonding and we're going, and you can do something with that. So I'm excited what the future holds for this team.
Dan?
Nick, late in the first half, you guys had the chance to 17-3 and stalled out a little bit in the red zone. Do you remember the final parts of that sequence, and how frustrating was it to not be able to punch that in at the end of the half there to really put your grasp on the game?
So you're sorry, it sort of blanked out for a little bit. You're talking about the end of the half, putting it in.
Yeah, you guys had the chance to go up 17-3. We're down there in the red zone and then
Yeah.
kind of just stalled out there. Just wondered your thoughts on that sequence.
Yeah. Anytime you're in the red zone, we gotta do a better job of coming away with touchdowns. So that's something that we need to look at, you know, as an offense and figure out, you know, in those situations, you go up 17-3, that's tough, but 13-3, I mean, that's only 10 points. So, but that's a great question, you know, coming away with a touchdown, that and getting the ball coming into the second half, that's a huge scenario, and that can really help put a team away. So I think in moments like that, we really got to be able to execute in the red zone. Red zone football is really important, and we got to get better at it.
Last one, Adam Hogue.
Hey, Nick, my fault. I should have asked a more direct question earlier, but did your headset go out at one point? Is that what led to some of those issues? And
Yeah.
when you have the wristband, how does that help? Why do you use it? I guess what's its purpose?
Yeah, my headset did go out randomly, so I had to actually switch my helmet at one point, but I wasn't getting calls for a couple plays, so I was having to run over the sideline just to hear what, you know, the play was, and then we were able to put it together. And then the wristband's basically for unique plays that maybe there's different tags that become little stories of themselves, to where it's just easier to have it on the wristband to make sure that I like it because it allows me more time at the line of scrimmage to see things instead of waiting. So there's a purpose for it. I believe in the wristband. I've done it for a lot of my career, and you know, the communication thing, great teams communicate well, and that's something that we're working towards. Once again, there's a lot of new pieces here that we're in the fire right now. We're going through it, and we're going to keep getting better. We're going to continue to lean on each other and believe in one another. That is what we're going to do.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you all. Y'all have a great night.
Akeem Hicks is coming to the main Zoom. Hey, Akeem.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Media, we got Akeem Hicks with us, and we can get going. Dan Wiederer.
Akeem, how frustrating is this loss given the fight you showed? And then also the drive at the end of the first half when you guys had played a really solid half and then let them get in right before the half ended. What was your reaction to that sequence?
That's a tough. I'll address the halftime score first. You know, that's a tough feeling, right? It's a tough feeling as a defense to be in a good position and give up a play like that, or even I would imagine at most we want to give up a field goal in that situation because they did drive down the field, right? And you got to respect that. But the one thing that I think that our defense is built on is standing up. You know what I'm saying? We'll get some controversy. We'll have a bad play. We're human beings. But when it comes clutch time, it's not okay to be human. We got to be different, and we understand that, you know? Sorry if I'm a little amped up. I had a few pre-workouts, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Adam Hogue.
Hey, Akeem, as a teammate, what was your reaction to the Javon Wims fight? And, I mean, how's that handled in the locker room after the game?
I didn't see it, to be honest with you. I didn't see it. Heard something about it, but this game of football is pretty emotional, right? We got a lot of things going on, extrinsic and intrinsic, you know what I'm saying? It's situations that we have to cover and we have to be prepared for. I think that I lost my cool before, you know, it's part of the game. The elite, and if you want to be elite, you got to be able to control some of those moments. You got to be able to, you know, put whatever emotion you got going on, put it in the pocket because your team means more. And knowing the character of Javon, I know that he doesn't want to have, you know, a situation that might go, you know, sour. So with a lot of respect for him, I understand that, you know, things happen and we'll move forward.
Pat Finley.
Hey, Kim, in terms of getting home to the quarterback, how much of that was the Saints being effective and how much of that was you guys needing a little more in the pass rush?
You have an elite quarterback in Drew Brees, someone that is able to manipulate the pocket and do things well in order to get himself out of trouble situations, right? And you know, if you want my opinion on how we rushed today, I think we rushed well. I think we were constantly pestering him. I think that we were in his face. I think that you know, we did our best to dominate the game in the way that we could. Is there going to be a situation or a play that we want back or want more from? Of course, those are going to transpire throughout the course of the game. But overall, I think that we understood who we were playing and we played our game plan to the best of our ability. So to answer your question, I want more sacks too, you know, but it just doesn't happen sometimes. And you got to be, you know, you got to be controlled enough to say, hey, I'm gonna get him on the next play. That play don't work. I'm gonna get him on the next play. You got to have that hunger to keep pushing yourself, right? Sometimes I'll leave that question there. We're good. I answered it for you.
Kevin Fishbane.
Hey, Keem, obviously last week was tough coming off of LA, and then you have this. And Matt said this is the type of time where you rely on your leaders, you rely on your veterans. What do you think it's going to be like this week, knowing your guys, knowing what you guys have been through and where your team's at? What do you kind of expect this week?
I expect what we have every week. We have a group of guys that are ready to work. You know, whether we're up and we're 5-1 or being 5-3 at this point, we have a group of guys that are ready to work. And so that's what we will do this week. When we step on the practice field, we will work.
Mike Berman.
Akeem, it's the halfway point, 5-3. How would you summarize and assess this first half of the season?
We're an elite team. We're an elite team, and we can play at a high level. The consistency behind that is something that we need to improve throughout the course of the game.
Couple more for Akeem. Dan.
Akeem, obviously you'll have a night to sleep on this. You'll have a week to get past it. But the raw emotion tonight, how do you describe what's at the root of that for you as you leave here tonight?
The raw emotion. I got a lot of that, huh?
Well, you said you're amped up and yeah, that it's, you know, that it's there for you right now.
It's you gotta let it hurt sometimes. You gotta let it hurt. You don't work all week to come in on Sunday and not perform the way you want to perform. And the ultimate goal of that performance is to get a W. We didn't get that tonight, so it's gonna hurt. You're gonna have that long drive home, and you're gonna be thinking about the things that you want to do better. Doing better the next time you're on the field.
How do you solidify this team as elite going forward? How do you make sure that you guys stay there?
There's a certain amount of humbleness that goes into it. You know, you never think down on yourself. You always keep your confidence high, but you acknowledge the points where you want to improve. You acknowledge the points where that may be your weakness, and you attack those. That's my plan.
Last one for Akeem. Joe Lewis.
Yeah, Akeem, you all have the defense has had to be put in situations where you have had to hold opposing teams when they were up several times. Does this ever create a frustration between the defense and the offense,
No.
or is this something you all
No.
work through?
No.
Thanks for your time, Akeem. That's going to do it for the main Zoom tonight, guys. Thanks for joining.